So we're talking 808s, right? So did you see me dragging it into the sampler? You got that far? Yeah.
Yeah. You said C1. I heard you.
Yeah. So when you drag it in that way to the optimized zone, it'll listen to the sample. It will go, right, that the pitch of that sample is, and in this case, it's C1. So when I play C1 on my keyboard, see, I'm playing it there. That's the original pitch of this sample, right? When you drag it in that optimized way, it'll also map it to all the other keys on the keyboard. So you've got that same 808 sound on any pitch, effectively. I'll always kind of check that, particularly because I might want to tune it a little bit further. So I will pull up the tuner in here and just check the tuning of the sample. So when I'm playing it, you see how it's saying it's like 4 or 5 cents flat. It's like sort of around 5. The pitch is fluctuating very slightly. But what I can do within this instrument is actually to go and find the synth section here, and then tune that back in. It's only cents, so cents is like there's 100 cents in a semitone. Okay. So it's a very fine tune, but when we're talking about trying to get things to lock in really precisely, every little helps, right? So then when I play that same C again, it's sort of bobbing around the green much faster. See that? So I've tuned that 808 now, so I know that is in tune, and I could do the same with any other 808 patch. So just to demonstrate, let's try and find something different here. I don't know what that is that I dragged in. Let's get rid of that. Let's find a different 808. Cool. Let's go with that one. Go sample. Okay. So this time it's analyzed it and it said, right, the root key is F sharp, and it'll handily show you what F sharp is. So there's F sharp, and it sounded the same as when I previewed it over here in the browser. Which is kind of handy, right? It's basically saying that note is F sharp. Same thing, I'll check it and see if I need to tune it at all. And it's about 7 cents flat. So I can just get rid of some of this stuff. So I'll put the 7 cents back in there. Still a little bit. Sometimes, you know, you need to tweak a little bit. Yeah, now it's saying it's sharp, but you know, in the ballpark, we're talking very minute little margins. And again, yeah, that's a pitched 808, so I've got that on every note, right? So that's the first piece of the puzzle, is making sure that you know the pitch of your 808 so that you can play the right notes in your pattern effectively. Yeah. The next bit, the next kind of, I suppose it's the slightly more challenging bit, is to work out the pitch of your kick drum. Now I'm guessing that you're working with samples, so kick samples that you're pulling in. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me go and see. Let's jump into this hip hop set here. Samples, drums, one shots, trap.
Yeah, using one shot.
Kicks. Cool. Let's find something we like. I like that. It's kind of punchy. So I'm just going to drop that in as an audio sample, right? So deliberately not bringing it in as a sampler instrument. So here's this audio sample here, and let's just put it going 4 to the floor on this one bar. Okay, now no idea what the pitch is of that sample. So I mean, I could pull it back into the sampler, but because it's such a short sound, the sampler isn't going to be as effective as analyzing it and going, oh yeah, that's F sharp, as it did with the previous 808. So I find that using the channel EQ is a more accurate way, and we can try and figure out what's called the fundamental frequency of the kick. So the fundamental frequency is like the root frequency of the sound. It's the main lowest frequency of that sound. Every other frequency in that sound is not the fundamental. It's something else that comes after it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a really narrow boost, and I'm going to sweep this down until I hear the fundamental sticking out, and you'll hear exactly what that is when it pops out, because it'll be all of a sudden one pitch just starts like jumping out of the headphones at you. All right. So it's going to be down in this region here, right? It's going to be down at the peak of the curve. Is like jumping out way more than the rest of the sound. So when I'm at 53 hertz, it's like, yeah, there's the frequency. If I move it above or below even a couple of hertz, not as strong at 50. Actually, yeah, 56, it's pretty, but it's like the same pitch. I get to 62 and it's kind of not the same. So which, if I'm looking really closely at this frequency analyzer, it's basically right on the crest of that EQ curve. So that's the fundamental frequency. Now I need to figure out what the hell that note is. What pitch is that? So what I do is just to use a chart, which you can download for free off of the internet. Have you got that too now?
Yes.
Cool. So this is a frequency chart, right? It shows you the frequency of all the different pitched notes. So when we pulled in those 808s, it was like, oh yeah, that's F sharp. So the frequency of F sharp is 46.2 hertz. Now the kick, we're saying the fundamental is at 56 hertz. So I'm just going to look on this chart and find out what 56 hertz is, and it's like pretty much there or thereabouts, right? So I know that kick isn't going to work with my F sharp 808 because they're different pitches, right? So what I want to do is pull that in pitch or in key with my 808. So A is 1, 2, 3 semitones higher than F sharp. So all I'm going to do is grab those kicks and pull it down by 3 semitones, right? And that's going to pull the whole pitch of these down, so that now the fundamental should be at 46, right? So this is going to sound weird now. So I'm going to need to pull this down to 46 in order to get in the right region of the new fundamental. and there it is.
There it is.
And if I put that's my 808 that I had, and if you hear it, they're like the same note. Yeah. So that's kind of the science of it. That's the tricky stuff, right? That's like, right, how do I analyze my 808, find out the pitch of it? How do I analyze my kick, find out the pitch of it, and get them together?
Man, that helped me so much. I don't even think that there's a YouTube video out there that is going this specific with it on, like, especially for Logic. I think they're just kind of giving you an overview of like, all right, typically this is what you do, but to actually go in and say, no, you want to use the optimized one, make sure that it's right on the root note. This one is a better, case for trying to find it for the kick, the channel EQ as opposed to the tuner. So that really just helped me in exponential ways. I'm not gonna lie, like, because the way my workflow was a bit different when selecting my kicks. I would just throw my kicks into a sampler and just kind of hope for the best. You know what I mean? And as I'm seeing this is almost profound for me, because it's like, yo, this is a step you should be taking before that. You just throw it in the sampler, because by the time it gets to the sampler, it should be almost on point or as close as possible, so we can make the smallest we can make the smallest possible tweaks. Man, this is incredibly insightful for me, so I do appreciate that.
Man, that's really, really kind of you to say. Thank you very much. So cool. So let me tell you what I do from here, right? So now that I've got my kick in the right pitch, yeah, what I then do is I'd go, right, I want to put that into my sampler now, so that I can play it as a MIDI note, because it's easier to perform in patterns when it's MIDI rather than dragging and dropping audio. So if you're using an MPC or something like that, you want to be in the flow and be able to kind of program your drums in that way. So I'd then make my new sampler instrument in the same way, and then I drag that into there.
Optimized per file. Got it.
And it will go, oh yeah, look, that's F sharp.
Oh, that's so, bruh. Yeah, man.
And the thing is, like, when you see it like this, it's like, right, that's so
it's just so like, yeah.
But
I would have never ever done. Oh man,
I swear people make stuff like so baffling, and they go, oh, it's so complicated. It's not complicated. You just need someone to explain it to you like the right way, the methodical way, and then you can repeat it as many times as you like.
Exactly, man.
So now I've got that kick in my sampler, but the great thing is that because I pulled that in optimized, it's pitched as well.
Oh, that's
so not only have I got my kick, my 808 that's pitched correctly in my sampler, my kick is pitched correctly in the sampler as well, which is like,
yeah. So if you change patterns mid what they do, whatever, and your kick will flow right in there, because you don't even have to worry about going back and like, oh, I changed the pitch real quick. Nope, it's already pitched right there. So you just kind of just go up and down your keys and find, oh, that's like God level fucking information right there.
No, dude, because let's go one step further, right? So here's let's get rid of this other stuff just so that we're keeping our screen tidy. Okay, so here's our kick and our 808, yeah?
Yeah.
Now let's go and make those a track stack, right? Kick, 808, sum. And what we can do is then, rather than programming these in separately, what I can do is record them as a track stack. So I record the MIDI on the top file. Right? And what it does, right, it's triggering my kick and my 808 simultaneously because they're MIDI tracks and I'm putting the MIDI on the track stack. So it's playing both parts, both the kick and the 808, right? So let's just pull out. Right? Now I can go in and I can tweak this kick. So I can be like, hang on a minute. Okay, now I want that to be, I want to shorten this kick up so that it's tighter, right? And I want it to be one shot. Yeah. So it's going to play the whole sample rather than it cutting off.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got a short, punchy kick that's in tune now. Now I can go to my 808. Let's pull up my 808. Let's make that one shot. I want it to be a mono sound. Okay. Make it a mono sound so that I don't get any of those overlapping 808s. Right, now when I bring the kick back in, I'm going to lose the kick because the 808 is going to be in the way, right? Right, so I just smooth the beginning of this 808. So put a little fade so that there's room on the front end of the 808 for the kick to punch through. But then the 808 blooms afterwards. So I've got the short punchy kick going on. Right.
You're giving room so that the tail end of the 808 can form most of the sound, and you're the punch, the kick for the punch is right in your face, right in the beginning of the. Oh man, this is. I'm just gonna keep watching. I'm just learning so much.
I mean, that's it. Basically, that's what it is. The things that people get totally wrong with kicks and 808s are these processes that we've gone through. So getting them matching up in pitch so that they're playing the same note. Mapping them in terms of the patterns so that they're playing the same patterns, and then also making them work together so that firstly they're not all mushing over each other and getting into a big mess. That's about making sure that your one shots are set up so that they're not going to overlap, making sure that you're amending the actual length of the sounds, and then giving room for them to cooperate. So having your kick short, so your kick is just doing the punch. Right. 808 is doing the bloom and the pitch that comes afterwards. And then those two things are working cohesively together rather than like this big old battle that's going on.
Yeah, that's what it was sounding like. I was like, bro, it sounds like they're just trying to like, ah! And I'm like, man, like work together. Like, what is going on? This is profound, man. This I feel like it almost kind of makes you feel some type of way that no one on the internet is really explaining it like this. This was like, I don't even know how much time this took us. You got short and right to the point. You did it, and it makes more sense than anything I've ever seen on YouTube. I've seen people explain it, but they'll either convolute it or take too much time, or it's just not like, hey man,